Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Pariyana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitam Sacha Om Ajnanatimrandhasya Jnanannana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Guru Abhishta Sapurakam Guru Ganaya Shisa Sambhushitam Chinta Chinta Samasta Vedanipunam Shri Rupa Panthanugam Govinda Bidam Ujjalam Vardhanam Bhaktianvitam Sundaram Mande Vishwa Guruncha Divya Bhagavat Premno Hibij Pradam Devam Divyatanum Suchandravadanam Balarka Chelanchitam Sandrananda Puram Sadek Varnam Vairagya Vidyam Buddhim Shri Siddhantanidhim Subhaktilasitam Sarasatanam Varam Vandetam Shubhadam Madekha Sharanam Nasiswaram Śrīdharam Shri Siddhanta Saraswati Tividito Gauriya Guruvanvaye Bhata Bhanuriva Prabhat Gagne Gaura Sankirtane Mayavadatimingilo Daragatan Dhritta Jivani Man Krishna Prema Sudabdi Gahana Sukham Pradat Prabhum Tam Bhaje Namo Gaura Kishoraya Bhakta Vadhuta Murtaye Gaurangra Padma Bhrangaya Radha Bhavani Sevine Vande Bhakti Vinodam Shri Gaura Shakti Sarupakam Bhakti Shastragya Samrajam Radharasa Sudhanadim Gaura Vrajashita Shaira Vaishnavaira Vanda Vigraham Jagannatha Prabhum Vande Premabdham Riddha Vaishnavam Vanchakalpatarubhascha Kripasindhubhaivacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhaktarupa Sarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakhyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam Namo Mahavadannaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namane Gaura Tusai Namah. Sashtang Dandat Pranam to all the exalted Vaishnavas, devotees and servitors at the lotus feet of Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev-Goswamī Maharāj, Gurudev, and Param Guru Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Rakṣhak Śrīdhar Dev-Goswamī Maharaj, serving worldwide. To everyone else, to our friends, seekers, our Hardik Namaskar, obeisances, welcome to our Friday evening Sangha. And I have our distinguished panelists. Let me bring them on. Dandat Pranam and welcome back, Shripad Arun Krishna Prabhu Ki Jai.
Dandavat Prabhu. I'm happy to be back with all the devotees here.
Yeah, we missed your association a lot. You're back from the Holy Land, and so happy to have your association and guidance again. And Shripad Chinmoy Prabhu, welcome. Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam. It's good to see you, Arun. Glad you're back safely.
Dandavat Prabhu.
So we're discussing, we are at the conclusion of the golden volcano of divine love, and we will begin with where we paused last time, which is essentially part 3. So the conclusion is the part 3 of the divine literature, and the page number is 225 of this publication, the Southbound. So if anyone wants to follow along, then they can do that. So the title reads, Drop of Divine Love. This is Param Guru Maharaj. Only Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu can give the conception of full-fledged theism. It is His grace, His sweet will. It is His own wealth, not the property of many. Krishna is an autocrat. He is the highest, and whomever he selects to receive his own wealth will get it. No one can raise the question of no taxation without representation. There is no room for that sort of slogan here. In order to explain this for our benefit, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, taking himself as a fallen soul, says, my position is that of a servant of Krishna, but I am devoid of Krishna. What am I? I am a slave of Krishna, a slave of the Lord, but I am devoid of my master. What an ironic thing it is. You can wail, you can repent, you can mourn, but all rights are reserved by him. And when you awaken to that highest stage of self-surrender, you will get that wealth. But still, we must conceive that Krishna is above all law. Otherwise, surrender is meaningless. If we analyze the very basis of surrender, we must ask, where does surrender begin? In full surrender, there are no rights. Whenever any rights are established, surrender becomes unnecessary. We cannot think we must fight for our innate rights. To a certain extent, we may try for our rights in this world, but in Krishna's pastimes, this mentality has no place. All rights reserved. Even the goddess of fortune, Lakshmi Devi, cannot enter there. What to speak of others? It is inconceivable. Krishna is not under any law or within anyone's fist. All rights reserved. Everything is his sweet will, but he is absolute good. That is our solace. We cannot enter his domain as a matter of right. Even Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, and Lakshmi Devi cannot enter there. But still, if we take the path chalked out by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we can enter and achieve a position there. It is so dear, so rare, so valuable and desirable. We must look for the magnanimity of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, which is aspired for by Lord Brahma and Shiva. They are praying for a drop of his mercy. But Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu brought that here in a flood and inundated everyone with that nectar, a drop of which is rarely to be had or even thought of. We must approach his mercy with such an attitude of hankering and expectation. His gift is so great and magnanimous. Who can understand it? A pause here. Guru Maharaj is saying not receive it. He is saying who can understand it. Yes, Arun Prabhu, you wanted to chime in, please. Go ahead.
Prabhuji, such high things are being conveyed by Guru Maharaj. So as you just read, we must look at the enmity of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, which is aspired by Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva. And I feel so blessed to have connection with the devotees in our month, because that is what is being energetically conveyed through this disciplic line. And I feel fortunate to have that little connection. So this time when I went to Bharatvarsh, for the first time I went to Kashi, the Lord Shiva, the abode of Lord Shiva, Kashi Vishwanath. And it was a wonderful, wonderful experience just to feel the place of Lord Shiva. And this was really special for me because knowing the position of Lord Shiva and then understanding how the overall structure is, I mean, it was all organic and, it felt like, bowing down, honoring him, knowing who he is. And many people who go there seeing that I'm a Vaishnava or somebody else, they are looking through their tainted glass and, pretty, what should I say, distorted optics. And I really felt blessed to go to the abode of Lord Shiva. And, he is the most exalted Vaishnava. I mean, and if one sees that, one is so fulfilled and energized in knowing that this is our connection, this is totality, and Lord Shiva is there to spread auspiciousness to those who seek that. So,
Yeah.
very, very wonderful.
Hare Krishna. Thank you for sharing that. With two verses, back to Param Guru Maharaj, with two verses of Srimad Bhagavatam, one from the mouth of Krishna himself and the next from the mouth of Uddhava, he takes us straight to that highest place, eliminating so many external things. Krishna says, Na tatha me priyatama atmayorir na shankara na cha sankarshano na shrir naivatma cha yatha bhavan. Uddhava, neither Brahman nor Shiva, nor Baladev, nor Lakshmi, nor even my own self are as dear to me as you. And Uddhava says, Asamaho charan renu rusham hamsyam vrindavane kimapi gulmalatau shadina yadistajam swajanam majapatham chahitva bhejur mukunda padavim shrutibhir brahmagyam. The gopis of Vrindavan have given up the association of their husbands, sons, and other family members who are very difficult to renounce. And they have sacrificed even their religious principles to take shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna, which are sought after even by the Vedas. Oh, grant me the fortune to be born as a blade of grass in Vrindavan, so that I may take the dust of those great souls upon my head. I just want to pause here. You know this, but just want to reiterate here that the sentiment is of special, very special significance to us as instruction. He is expressing his innermost heartfelt sentiment that he wants to give up the direct relationship that he has with Krishna. By the way, Krishna loves him more than himself. Krishna has already said that in the previous verse. In this verse, Uddhava is so he has his mood of surrender has reached such a stage just by being in presence of those devotees. those highest devotees of Krishna and Vrindavan, and by their mood, he is completely charmed and he has lost all bearing of his own position. So much so that he does not care for not associating with Krishna directly. Remember, if he is granted this wish, let's look at that. If he is granted this wish just the way he is asking for it, he will no longer be able to have a direct association of the Lord. And he is happy with that. He is asking for such a thing. It's inconceivable. Think about it for a second. This is where theism, when we say full-fledged theism, is not understood by common people, even with high intelligence, because they're thinking if you're close to the Lord in person, then it is achieved. That is what is to be achieved. But here, not so. Śrīdhar is saying that I am wanting, willing, asking to give up direct association of Krishna to be what? To be a blade of grass in Vrindavan, so that now does he aspire for a direct connection with those high devotees? Not so. Even there he's asking for indirect. This is his bhav. And this is what happens when one comes truly in connection with that highest sentiment, that divine sentiment. When he witnesses the divyonmad, the divine madness, then this is what he says. And that's why it's significant to understand commonly what is construed as the highest level of being a theistic person is being near God, or being in the personality, close to the personality of Godhead, physically. Not so. Here, even that stage has been surpassed. So that is the significance of the. Namaskar, Anilji, welcome.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. In common understanding, we all know, especially from I am from Indic background, and whoever is, and even outside, even in the West, if you're close to God, or if you're close to Godhead, physically, like say Yeshua, he sits on the right side of the Lord, and such, they sit on the left side of the Lord. And that is what is to be achieved. But here Śrīdhar is in his heart, he is not asking for that. He's asking to be associated, not directly, indirectly, with those high devotees, those highest devotees. That is the sentiment. That is peculiar and significant here. So when we talk about the development of theism and the full-fledged theism, this is of essence to understand, because it doesn't come easily. So that is why Param Guru Maharaj has given this again and again. You will see he has repeated this several times on several different occasions in different contexts. But such is the nature of this exchange that we have to remember this in our hearts. That what is theistic development? To someone, Krishna loves more than himself, and the other person is at the point of rejecting that association. What kind of love and affection is he attracted to? What kind of devotion is he attracted to? What is that special devotion that Sri Uddhava is trying to attract our attention to. Even most, regular people who profess or confess to be Krishna's devotees, they just want to be with him. But he's saying, no. I want to associate and be showered with the dust of the lotus feet of those damsels of Vrindavan. Yes, Arun Prabhu?
So Prabhuji, as I was growing up, I'd read condensed forms of these pastimes of Sri Krishna, Mahabharata and so on. Then in Hindi literature classes in school, we will study some aspects. And there is only it's very surprising that in today's Bharat, what to talk about rest of the world, people have some fleeting exposure to Mahabharata, Srimad Bhagavatam, and rarely, if any, has any exposure to this Sri Uddhav Samvad, which really is of extremely high quality and an indication that, here the pastimes of Sri Krishna is one thing, but if you really want to know, you must understand when Sri Krishna sent Uddhav to Vrindavan. And that is the essence. And that is what Śrīla Gurudev, Param Guru Maharaj is pointing to us. It's on the path of devotion, one must walk through, in my view, the mood of Sri Uddhav. One must walk through that. That is the ultimate. As a fallen soul, that is the path. Connection through the servant of the servant of the servant, the devotee of the best devotee, servant of Sri Krishna, who is himself. Sri Radha Krishna cannot be separated out. It is simply the Leela of that Supreme Personality.
Very true. Not to say that Sri Uddhava is not, he's a very high devotee. Extremely high from our perspective. So it's important for us to listen, with complete attention and understanding of what exactly is he saying. And he's asking, if there is any thing that he's asking for the association. And he himself is wanting to be a creeper, not having any will of his own. A creeper has what will? We are told to be more humble than a blade of grass. He's literally asking to be a blade of grass. So, yes, there are levels of theism reaching all the way to devotion, and then within devotion, there are different stages of devotion. And one who is at certain level, then they are able to point out to others. And we should simply take that and in our minds not make the offense of putting one up and the other down. So for us, they're all our gurus. So, but if someone is pointing something out, by the mercy of our Gurudev, we are able to understand what Param Guru Maharaj is saying, and then by that, Sri Uddhava is being able to reveal to us the inner sentiment of what is being said and what is being asked at those higher levels. That is the way of true devotion, unalloyed devotion, ananya bhakti to follow. There is no other way. You cannot speculate by your mind. Cannot. Right, Anilji? Usually in our in any culture, especially our culture, if one has had some darshan or some proximity with the Supreme Lord, then that's it. But here, all that rule is broken. If that is a rule, then that is broken. Because that maybe, may not be. Krishna is an autocrat. He can use me, you, anyone and anything for his own internal purpose at any time. Whether we are willing or we are not. He's for himself and by himself. Everything is for him. And proximity or just having some fleeting glimpse of him is not the ultimate stage of perfection, as is revealed. So this is truly understanding and studying development of theism all the way up to full-fledged theism. Back to Param Guru Maharaj. The progressive march towards divinity. The gradation of theism can be traced from Lord Brahma, the creator of the universe. So Krishna's intimate friend Uddhava in Dwarka. Okay, let me read that again. The gradation of theism can be traced from Lord Brahma, the creator of the universe, to Krishna's intimate friend Uddhava in Dwarka. And Uddhava takes us directly to Vrindavan to reveal the highest devotion, eliminating various prospects in our progressive march towards divinity. We have to march on, and the way is that of surrender, of loving devotion, not mere formal devotion. Formal devotion, formal devotion referring to Vidhi Bhakti, by Vidhi. So that is completely different. Vaikuntha janito vara madhura puri tatrarpi rasotsavad vrindaranyam udarapani ramanata tatrapi govardhana radhakundam ihapi gokulapate premamrata plavana kuryadasya virajato giritate sevam vivekinaka. Superior to the spiritual realm of Vaikuntha is Mathura, where Sri Krishna first appears. Superior to Mathura is the Vrindavan forest, where Krishna enjoyed the rasa dance. Better still is Govardhana Hill, which was the site of even more confidential pastimes of love. But best of all is Radha Kund, which is situated at the foot of Govardhana Hill and holds the supreme position because it is overflooded with the nectar of the highest kind of divine love. Who is acquainted with the science of devotion, who will not aspire for the divine service of Srimati Radharani at Radha Kund? The heart of Krishna. We must place our faith in these subtle things. Only through faith of a finer order can we be led to that highest quarter. The highest conception is in the heart of Krishna. And we have to enter into the heart of Krishna, not any other place. Although Krishna's conjugal pastimes with the gopis, Madhurya Leela, are supreme, they cannot stand alone. There are many other things which are present in his pastimes. Krishna's pastimes with his friends and parents are essential in supporting his pastimes of amorous love. Conjugal love is, of course, the main thing, but still it is dependent on the other paraphernalia of Krishna's pastimes. There must be Krishna's family and friends and all the different groups of servitors. Even the environment of Vrindavan itself also has its valuable part to play. And what is Vrindavan? The sands of the river Yamuna, the jungle, the birds, peacocks, the deer, the cows, cowboys, caves of Govardhan Hill, the motherly relatives, everything is there. And it is well designed and most suitable for the pastimes of Sri Krishna. Vrindavan is necessary for the pastimes of Radha and Govinda. When Radharani meets Krishna in Kurukshetra, her mind runs to Vrindavan. She thinks Krishna is here, I am also here, but her mind runs to Vrindavan. In Kurukshetra, Srimati Radharani is hankering for the environment of Vrindavan. She wants to have Sri Krishna's company there. All of Krishna's paraphernalia and divine associates have their own unique place and cannot be eliminated. Radha Govinda cannot be taken away from Vrindavan anymore than Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu can be taken away from Navadip. The whole thing is a system. One part cannot be snatched away from the other parts. All the devotees have a necessary part to play in order to create the harmony of Krishna's pastimes. Otherwise, it would not be living, but dead, artificial, useless. It cannot even be imagined. Krishna Leela is an organic whole. A quick pause here. When some devotees, even some devotees in history that we have read of and we have known, like Mirabai, they tend to eliminate everyone and everything else other than Krishna and themselves. We are told that that cannot be the case. That is something of a mental mushroom. That is not real Leela. That is not real devotion. To be in Krishna's proximity or to be in his pastimes means to accept the entire organic whole. No elimination is possible. That is what is being said here. Those devotees are at a very superficial stage where they're saying we eliminate everything, but it's just Krishna and me. Cannot happen. What about his family? What about his friends? All the paraphernalia, you have eliminated all of that? And it's just you and him? What is this? So that is not acceptable. And it does not make sense also, if you really honestly think about it. Back to Param Guru Maharaj. Srimati Radharani says, my mind is running straight towards Vrindavan. I have the main object of pleasure, Krishna himself, but it is useless without the favorable paraphernalia of Vrindavan. So Radharani's pain of separation rises to the highest point in Kurukshetra, where she has attained the object of her union after a long separation. Then Krishna is very close, but without being surrounded by the favorable paraphernalia of Vrindavan, she cannot have the real advantage of union. In this way, Bhaktivinoda Thakur has explained the mood of Srimati Radharani in Kurukshetra. And a quick pause here. Srila Saraswati Thakur also has commented that the real devotees, or someone who is really, really interested in serving the lotus feet of Srimati Radharani, would not go to Radhakund. Those are again superficial people. Because the mood of separation, that Vipralamba in Kurukshetra, is the highest. And that's where the real devotee would go and try and serve. Because there is necessity. Necessity is highest over there. As we are just reading, those are the words of Param Guru Maharaj. That they're in proximity, but the separation is just untellable. It's too much by Srimati Radharani. Her need for service is the highest. And so by the necessity, then the real devotee would go and serve. So therefore, Kurukshetra is very special. A revolutionary guru. Back to Param Guru Maharaj. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur once revealed the importance of Kurukshetra in a unique way. The words of our Guru Maharaj were mostly very revolutionary. When I was a beginner with only 2 years or so in Gaudiya Math, I was in charge of the Kurukshetra temple. Once I came to the Calcutta headquarters of the hired house in Ulta Danga for the yearly preaching festival. After the festival, I was to return to Kurukshetra. Srila Prabhupada was thinking of opening a theistic exhibition in Kurukshetra, showing the dioramas how Krishna and his friends came there from Dwarka, and the gopis came there from Vrindavan. It is mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam that during the solar eclipse, they came to bathe in Ramhrad, a sacred lake in Kurukshetra. Srila Prabhupada wanted to show that pastime with a diorama. And so the exhibition was arranged. He ordered handbills to be printed and 20,000 circulated in the area, inviting people to come for the exhibition. Well, I beg your pardon, but that's what Param Guru Maharaj is explaining now. What we talked about. Sorry, I kind of jumped. Vrindavan for shallow thinkers. Sorry. In this connection, he told us, you all know that only the bogus, hollow people and men of shallow thinking like Vrindavan. I was very much perplexed to hear this. I had been told that Vrindavan is the highest place of spiritual perfection. I had heard that one who has not mastered his senses cannot enter Vrindavan. Only the liberated souls can enter Vrindavan and have the opportunity of discussing Krishna Leela Vrindavan is for the liberated souls. Those who are not liberated from the demands of their senses may live in Navadip, but the liberated souls may live in Vrindavan. Now Prabhupada was saying that the shallow thinkers appreciate Vrindavan, but a man of real bhajan, real divine aspiration will aspire to live in Kurukshetra. Hearing this, I felt as if I had fallen from the top of a tree. What is this? I thought. I am a very acute listener, so I was very keen to catch the meaning of his words. The next thought he gave us was that Bhaktivinoda Thakur, after visiting many different places of pilgrimage, remarked, I would like to spend the last days of my life in Kurukshetra. I shall construct a cottage near Ramhrad and pass the rest of my life there. Kurukshetra is the real place of bhajan. Shrewd merchants. Why? Service is more valuable according to the intensity of its necessity. Shrewd merchants seek a market in wartime because in that dangerous position, money is spent like water, without any care for its value. They can earn more money if a war comes. In the same way, when Srimati Radharani's necessity reaches its zenith, service to her becomes extremely valuable. According to its necessity, service is valued. And in Kurukshetra, Srimati Radharani is in the highest necessity because Krishna is so close. But their Vrindavan Leela is impossible. In a football game, if the ball is just inches from the goal, but again comes back, it is considered a great loss. In the same way, after a long separation, Krishna is there in Kurukshetra, so the hankering for union felt by his devotees must come to its greatest point. But because he is in the role of a king, they cannot meet intimately. The circumstances do not allow the Vrindavan Leela to take place. So at that time, Srimati Radharani needs the highest service from her group, the Sakhis. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says that in that situation, a drop of service will draw the greatest amount of prem, divine love. In the pastimes of Radha Govinda, there are two aspects: Sambhog, divine union, and Vipralambha, divine separation. When Radha and Krishna are very near to each other, they can't meet intimately. Service at that time can draw the greatest gain for the servitors. Therefore, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, I shall construct a hut on the banks of Ramhrad in Kurukshetra and contemplate rendering service to the divine couple. If I can achieve that standard where the prospect of service is so high, then there is no possibility of returning to this mundane plane at any time. Hare Krishna. So I'd like to pause here if you permit, if you think appropriate. And then we can finish up in our next session. And it is really obvious as we are going through this, this is really kind of like PhD level. Yes, Anilji, please go ahead. I'm rambling.
I think that's, if in the correct summary, right? So the joy of union is less important than the pain of separation, right?
Well said. It's explained like that they're both necessary for the other to occur, because without union there can't be separation, and without separation there can be union. So they're kind of related in that way. But what is unique? One aspect is union is for a limited time, because there's union, and then the separation is of a much longer period. And then the unique thing, a unique aspect of union of separation, or vipralambha, as explained, is that outwardly it is like hell, or it is like the poison of Kalkut, no Kalkut. It is like very poisonous, and it's worse than the pains of death. Outwardly. But inwardly, it is the most nourishing and the healthiest position.
Thank God.
Thank you, Arun Prabhu. The reason being, one of the reasons being that there can be no real separation as such, because once you're at that level, then it is your bhav and the reciprocation that is defining union or separation. But separation is of a much more intense character than union. Does that make sense?
Yes, Prabhuji.
So that intensity seems on the outside to be crushing us or to be unbearable, but on the inside it is the most nourishing, much more so than union.
Okay.
So vipralambha, it's called vipralambha milan. So that kind of state is to be understood as union, but in separation.
Okay. Okay.
That is the special, subtle characteristic of the vipralambha bhav.
Vipralambha.
Sambhog and vipralambha. Union and separation.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So we'll see if there is any help. Very happy that finally we have our group back again, and Arun Prabhu is back. Very happy to have Arun Prabhu. And Anil ji and Chinmoy Dev Prabhu in your absence have been guiding me, and so we have been Dandavad, Preeti ji, Bikram, I can see Bikram ji. Namaskar Bikram ji.
Yeah, Dhanyavad.
And Nandarani Didi is also there. Dandat Pranam Nandarani Didi. Okay, and someone has finally heard our cry for help, and so we shall be graced very soon. And we'll do Hari Harai and then do Jai Dhwani. Oh, Anika ji is also there. Namaskar Anika ji. How are you? Okay. I'll be right back.
When did you back from India?
A week ago, Didi.
How was everything there?
India is like India. It just engrosses you. It was wonderful. It was wonderful. It was intense, but very wonderful. So I was away for 6 weeks.
Did you also come back?
Yeah, Ritu came back a month ago, actually.
Oh,
Yeah, so we traveled in a staggered way. She went there first, and then after a month of her visit, then I joined her, and then there was an overlap for 2 weeks, and so I came back last.
भज श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद
Bhaj Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda
श्री अद्वैता गदाधर शिवसदि गौर भक्तवृंदा
Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shiva Sadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda
हरिहराय नमः कृष्णाय यादवाय नमः
Haraya Nama Krishna Yadavaya Namaha
यादवाय माधवाय केशवाय नमः
Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha
गोपाल गोविंद राम श्री मधुसूदन
Gopal Govinda Ram Shri Madhusudana
गिरिधारी गोपीनाथ मदन मोहन
Giridhari Gopinath Madan Mohan
श्री चैतन्य नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता चंद्र
Sri Chaitanya Nityananda Shri Advaita Chandra
गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा
Gadadhara Shiva Sadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda
जय रूप सनातन भट्ट रघुनाथ
Jaya Rupa Sanatana Bhattara
श्री जीव गोपाल भट्ट दस रघुनाथ
Shri Jiva Gopala Bhattara
इच्छाय गोसाई कोरी चरण वंदन
Echai Gosai Puri Charana Bandhana
जहाँ होते विज्ञानाश विष्ट पुराण
Jaha Vite
इच्छाय गोसाई जार मुई तारा दास
Echai Gosai Jai
तास बार पाद रेणु मोरा पंचग्रास
Mora Panchakra
तांडेर चरण से भी भक्त सनेवास जाना में मोरा ये अभिलाष इच्छाए गोसाए जबे ब्रज कोइलाबास श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण नित्या लीला कोरीला प्रकाश आनंद बोलो हरि भजा वृंदावन
Anande bolo Hari Bhai Vrindavan.
Shri Guru Vaishnava Padema Jai Aman.
Shri Guru Vaishnava Padma.
Shri Guru Vaishnava Pad Padma Koriyas.
Shri Guru Vaishnava Padma Koriyas.
Hari Nam Sankirtana Kohe Narottama Das.
Nam
Sankirtana Sankirtana
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare
Krishna, Krishna
Krishna, Hare
Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Nitya Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitya Gaura Hari Bol.
Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol.
Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev.
Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev.
Jai Gauranga Sundar, Jai Gauranga Sundar, Jai Gauranga Sundar, Jai Gauranga Sundar.
Jai Gauranga Sundar, Jai Gauranga Sundar, Jai Gauranga Sundar, Jai Gauranga Sundar.
Jai. Okay, Anika ji, please.
Jai Sapri Karshi Shri Guru Granga Gadwar Govind Sundar Ki Dari Gopi Raju Ki Jai.
Jai.
Om Padmang Shah Paravaja Krara Variasta Sarasati Shri Srimad Bhakti Sundar Dev-Goswamī Maharāj Ki Jai.
Jai.
Om Padmang Shah Paravaja Krara Variasta Sarasati Shri Srimad Bhakti Dev-Goswamī Maharāj Ki Jai. Om Padmang Shah Paravaja Krara Variasta Sarasati Shri Srimad Bhakti Sanatana Savasthi Thakur Ki Jai.
Jai.
Om Maharaj Gokshar Ji Maharaj Ki Jai.
Jai.
Om Maharaj Chaksinand Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ki Jai.
Jai.
Om Maharaj Jagnath Das Babji Maharaj Ki Jai.
Jai.
Govind Ki Jai.
Jai.
Om Bhattacharya Śrīla Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Jai. Antapur Vishnu Vinda Ki Jai.
Jai.
Shri Guladeva Viti Bhushan Ki Jai.
Jai.
Lord Vishwanath Chakravarti Prabhu Ki Jai.
Jai.
Shri Narottam Sham Mandir Srinivasacharya Prabhu Ki Jai.
Jai.
Shri Nirvana Das Thakur Ki Jai. Shri Das Kaviraj Ki Jai.
Jai.
Saprasad Nityananda Prabhu Ki Jai.
Jai.
Saprasad Mahaprabhu Ki Jai. Jai Shri Radha Krishna Gop Gopinath Sham Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Shri Lakshmi Bardeva Ki Jai.
Jai.
Nabhakti Shri Noshna Deva Ki Jai. Bhakta Padma Maharaj Ki Jai. Tulsi Maharaj Ki Jai.
Jai.
Ganga Jamuna Ji Ki Jai.
Jai.
Grantha Radha Bhagavatam Chaitanya Charamatra Ki Jai.
Jai.
Vishwa Vaishnava Raja Sabha Ki Jai.
Jai.
Apratma Raja Sri Chaitanya Mat Ki Jai.
Jai.
Laliya Sakhi Mat Ki Jai.
Jai.
Sri Chaitanya Vat Mat Ki Jai.
Jai.
Krishna Kabir Tadya Kamak ki jai.
Jai.
Siddha Mayapur ki jai.
Jai.
Siddha Navadip ki jai.
Jai.
Vrindavan Satam Dham ki jai.
Jai.
Deva Subhadra Jagannath ji ki jai.
Jai.
Shri Govinda Kunda ki jai. Shri Shadishiva Gangra Ji ki jai.
Jai.
Samaveta Vaishnava Mandal ki jai.
Jai.
Samveta Bhaktinda ki jai.
Jai.
Nam Sankirtan ki jai.
Jai.
Jai Gopande Hari
Hari Hari
Hari
Bol. Jai. Om Vishnupad Śrīla Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev-Goswamī Maharāj ki jai. Jai. Om Vishnupad Śrīla Bhakti Rakṣhak Śrīdhar Dev-Goswamī Maharāj ki jai. Jai. Om Vishnupad Swarenna Śrīla Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki jai. Jai Bhagwan Śrīla Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur ki jai. Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai. Jai Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat Acharya Vrinda ki jai. Jai Śrīla Bhakti Pavan Janardhan Maharaj ki jai. Śrīla Bhakti Nirmala Acharya Maharaj ki jai. Saparshad Shri Nityananda Prabhu ki jai. Saparshad Shriman Mahaprabhu ki jai. Rupanuga Guru Varga ki jai. Hari Naam Sankirtan ki jai. Jai Shyanika ji, Preeti ji, Vikram ji and family ki jai. Jai Shripad Arun Krishna Prabhu ki jai. Jai Shripad Chinmadev Prabhu ki jai. Jai Shri Srimati Nandarani Didi ki jai. Our divine guest Shri Anil ji ki jai. Our Facebook and all the other guests ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol.
Hari Bol. Shri Pajya Ram Prabhu ki jai. Baba Didi ki jai. Bhavalika ki jai. Ram Prabhu ki jai.
Dandavad.